Outsiders. Welcome back to a new episode. With me, as always, is the Batmite to my Batman. It is Mark Perez.
Hello.
I am always Chris Carey, but we are never alone in this streets of Gotham. You got to fight with others by your side. So, as Dick Grayson would say, we have the second coming of sliced bread with us today. We have Khelan Bhatia.
Hello, hello. Thanks so much for having me on.
Thanks for being here. So, you are from the Homo Superior podcast.
I am. I'm one of the five co-hosts.
Yes.
If you haven't heard the podcast, we like to say we're five unapologetic queers dishing about the
Yes.
X-Men and offering smart analysis and dumb jokes weekly. And I do have to underline the word dumb.
I love that. So our show, when TJ and I originally created it, was because we looked around and saw basically every podcast, even till still today, about Batman was just like bro zone, just sprayed with Axe body spray. Uh, so we made this as a joke at first. We were like, haha, what if we did? And now, years later, it's not a joke. We love it. And you were saying before the show you had a similar vibe when you created Homo Superior. So could you tell our fans a little about what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. So, Homo Spirit, we just celebrated our eighth anniversary. We've been
Oh
doing
my
this now, I
God.
know, since
Congratulations.
2017.
Huge.
It started with just the five of us. We're all friends. We're all based in Washington, D.C. We used to even do like a graphic novel brunch club, and that's kind of how
That's so
we all
cool.
kind of connect. We had connected before that, but it's kind of how
That's the
we
gayest thing I've ever heard.
it was so freaking gay. We barely talked about the graphic novel, and then we just like bitched about like who slept with who the night before, um, as gay men do, over mimosas and
Amen.
Bloody Marys. But it led to wanting to do a podcast about the X-Men. At the time, Jay and Miles had been doing, their
Yes.
podcast for a
Oh,
while.
so good.
Yes.
They're huge inspiration for us. Jay and Miles are just
Nice.
fantastic. They're wonderful people. They
I
do a
met them in
great
Seattle
podcast.
ages ago. Yeah.
Yeah. So we wanted to just say, hey, let's do a podcast about the X-Men. There's a new era coming out. I don't think it's going to be very good, but we can at least talk about it and read it. Let's call it Homo Superior, and we're off to the races. And 8 years later, we're still here. We still do a weekly podcast. We're still talking about the X-Men, good, bad, and ugly. So yeah, it's great. But I got to say, Chris, I was telling you off show, while I'm in a polyamorous relationship with the X-Men, my first love is truly Batman. Believe
I
it or
love
not.
that.
Nice. I love
Yeah.
that.
So tell us how you got started with Batman. How did you get inducted into the streets of Gotham?
Oh my. Okay, so long story short, or maybe short story long. So I was born in India, and in Bombay, in Mumbai. And when I was a little kid, my whole family like loved reading. They really instilled, reading in me. And like my grandfather loved Archie comics, my uncle loved
Nice.
Asterix and Obelisk and Tintin, and we lived above it was called a library, but it was basically like a place where you could like rent books like you would a video store back in the day.
Mm.
And so I would get comics from there all the time, and like Superman was like, I'd get a lot of Superman comics. And then I remember looking at one comic and I saw a panel of Batman next to Robin, and I said, who is that? He looks so freaking cool. This is like 4-year-old Kalen saying this.
Oh,
And I was absolutely obsessed with the character. And then fast forward like a few months later, my uncle got me a compendium of like Batman from like the 1930s to the modern era, which was like had like golden age and silver age and some like bronze age material in it. And like I learned his origin. I learned like all the kooky 1950 stories where he's like going out to space. I learned about Batwoman and Batgirl and Joker and the entire like Rogues Gallery. And like from there, I was just obsessed. I was just like a Batman fan. I've seen every movie, even the bad ones. I've seen every TV show, even the bad
even the bad
ones.
ones.
I've read not every Batman comic because I mean, who
That would be
could?
impressive.
That would be insane,
Yeah,
honestly.
yeah.
But I have, I have my favorites, just like you all do. Yeah, I think Batman is such a versatile character, and you can
Yeah.
do so much with him. And there have been some absolutely phenomenal runs.
Yes. Who is your favorite Robin?
Um, Honestly, I know we're gonna talk a lot about Dick Grayson, but I think it's Tim Drake. Uh,
Yes. Okay, that's the right answer.
and I swear I'm not just doing that to, suck up, Chris.
Oh,
Uh,
it's fine. You can suck up all you want. He's the best. It's just the fact. He's in it. So he's in it for a minute.
he's in it for a minute, and I don't like the Red Robin, like, guy that he had for a little bit.
Yeah.
I just don't think it rolls off the tongue very well.
You don't think he
But
should have been named himself after a restaurant chain or
or the it's still better than the Drake that he went by for like a
we do
hot
not
minute.
speak of the fact that he was the rapper Drake.
Seriously, right? But no, I got to love Tim Drake because
Yeah.
I read Death in the Family when Jason gets
Oh,
killed. I read Lonely Place and Dying in the late
yeah.
80s. And then when he had his own series and got that really cool costume, I was like
Yes.
obsessed.
Oh, that series is my favorite. Oh, so good.
It's so good. But Nightwing might be my favorite DC character ever.
Okay.
So
Okay. So Tim's best Robin, Nightwing best character.
yes.
But earlier you did say Oracle was your favorite. So I'm just throwing out here that you seem to have a lot of favorites.
I have a lot of favorites. Okay. Sorry.
That was
Like, I can't
pre-show and I
choose.
had to bring it up.
This is why I love the X-Men, because when somebody says who's your favorite, I'm like, how much time do you have? Because I will
Yeah.
read out
Exactly.
the
There is
list.
exactly
Yeah.
200.
There's different reasons, right? Right? It's like you could like Fuzzy Elf for this
Yeah.
reason, you like Magic
Right.
for that reason, whatever it may
Right.
be, right?
Exactly.
You want to go for mimosas with Emma Frost, but you wouldn't, ask her to hold
That
your
is
drink at a
true.
party.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, 100%. I love it. I love it. Do you have a favorite villain?
Ooh, okay. So I think he's been a little overused lately, but I've always had a soft spot for Ra's al Ghul.
Oh,
Um,
yes. And that the Red Robin comic love makes sense there too, because he's the main villain in that whole
it is. Yeah,
experience.
he is. I think I love a misunderstood
Oh yeah.
villain or an anti-hero.
Oh yeah.
Again, Magneto is one of my favorites.
Yes.
Mhm.
Although Magneto is right, not a villain.
Oh yeah.
I was just gonna say.
Always. He's
Yeah.
just always right.
He's always right. But like, look, I mean, Ra's al Ghul has a purpose of why he does this. He wants to save the world, because
Mhm.
he's, he believes that our ecology is, crumbling, and so he just wants to destroy most of it to save it.
I mean,
So, yeah,
arguably, at least part of his motivation is he wants to fuck somebody in the Bat family at all given times. But you're right. No, his main reason is world saving.
sure, exactly. And there's a nobility to him I always
There
enjoy,
is.
and like,
There
I,
is.
I kind
No,
of
I
like
love
I've
him.
always liked Batman when he's been a little James Bondy, like a
Yeah.
little like traveling the world, and Ra's
Mm.
al Ghul just seems like such a
Oh yeah.
cool like arch villain for that.
Yeah.
No, he's so great. When you said he's been overused lately, I was like, if you say Joker, we're gonna have
Oh
to have
God, no.
words.
No,
We're
no,
gonna
no,
have
no,
to
no.
have words.
No, Joker's great, is fine
Yeah.
and can be fine, but a little goes a long way.
He is
Yeah.
seasoning. I've always said Joker should be seasoning. Like in this book, he was seasoning in this book, and that was perfect.
Perfect.
No more
Yes.
Joker than that. Which I
Yeah,
guess we should
yeah.
probably say what we're reading if I'm just going to keep referencing it. So we went back to the good Snyderverse, the Scott Snyderverse, with, sorry, with Black Mirror, which was your choice. So, Khelan, what did you like about this one? I mean, why did you pick it? I should say.
So, I wanted to do a more modern classic because, like, I'm
Mhm.
sure you've got plenty of people who will say Year One, Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some people will say Hush. I don't know why. Sorry for all the Hush fans out there.
It's the
But
pseudo incest.
yeah, and the Jim Lee art is very, very
Oh yeah,
pretty.
that's what it is. I think it's the dark romance girlies, but sure.
Yeah. Um, but Scott Snyder, I know, is like one of your favorites, Chris. And Mark,
Yeah.
I think you really dig him too. I
Mhm.
wanted to go back to kind of where he started before
Yeah.
he became like superstar, Scott Snyder,
Mhm.
Yeah.
when he was like just writing for Vertigo. He was doing American Vampire with Stephen King. And this is,
Mm.
his first Batman foray. And like,
So
um,
good.
What a way to
It's
start.
I know.
what a way to start, right?
Yeah.
And plus, uh, Dick is in the lead. Dick Grayson is
Yeah.
Batman in this. Like, it's the best Dick Grayson Batman story ever told. There's
And
not that many,
we
but
love leading with a dick, you know?
Yeah.
and ending with a dick too.
You know?
Oh, the dick.
Truly, though. I mean, you're right. Scott Snyder is my favorite, and I think all of the reasons why he's my favorite writer for Batman are here. So I always say, like, each writer has their part of Batman that's their focus. Like Tom King, it's the larger than life Batman that's the
Mhm.
focus, so on and so forth. But for Scott Snyder, the focus is always the family unit. Um, Always. And to immediately jump in, we've got Oracle, we've got Jim, we've got Tim, and they're all running around, and there's references to Damian, there's references to Jason. So it's like very grounded in the Bat family unit, which is what I
Yeah,
love personally. Batman as Bat Dad and Bat second dad and Dick Grayson is definitely like that's my
Bat
Batman.
Uncle, maybe.
Bat
Yeah,
Uncle,
yeah,
Bat cool uncle.
yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
hmm How about you, Mark? What do you think? Just broad strokes of this.
I the art just blew me away in
So
this
good.
story. I
It's so
was like,
good.
I started looking up the art by Jock after this. I was like, wait a minute, what am I
Yeah.
missing here? Right? It's like
Oh, it's
just
so
looking
good.
into that, just the way the story was put together. There were, obviously layers, and like it's
Mm-hmm.
the way it didn't overspend certain characters that we know are part of this universe. It
Mm-hmm.
it really knew how to spin the tale, keep you involved, and also there were some terrifying moments. These characters, like
Yeah.
there's some character, I was like, wow. I was like, it it's a great Batman story. I'm so glad I got to read it. I
Yeah.
This
really
is your
loved it.
first time reading it, right, Mark?
Yeah, it was my first time reading it, so
Oh,
I,
that's so
I was just
cool.
like, I had no idea what I was missing, and then I
Yeah.
looked at all this, and I'm like, wow. It's like, okay, so now I got to ask for recommendations as far as to other ones, other great stories during this
Mm-hmm.
era that I may have missed. So,
Oh yeah, absolutely. Um, by 100%. I also think this is such a tight story, which is interesting because there's a lot of points in it where you're reading it and you're like, what does this have to do with anything? But it
Right.
mm,
all does. Every single
yes,
thing ties back, which we've read a lot of different writers on here, and there are some that you're just like, we're far afield of the point at this point. But not Scott Snyder. Scott Snyder's like, no, I've got my eye on the ball and we're getting back
Right.
to it. And there's just metaphor on top of metaphor in this one. Like he was like, I'm going to take you all to English class. There will be themes, there will be similes.
yeah,
No, I loved it. So do we want to kind of just dive into bit by bit what happens in the story? I feel like going
do it.
chronologically makes the most sense for this one because it's so linear.
Mm.
We start out, we're right at the end of Final Crisis is where we land with this story. Mark, how familiar are you with the various DC crises?
Here and there, just little bits and
Yeah.
pieces. And I didn't get a chance to look up Final Crisis, but I figured, and the way it was explained in the story, that had to
Yeah.
do with why Batman was
hmm
kind of not there, and then why Dick was in the role,
Yeah.
which again, I think is another interesting part of the story because I get to see Batman through Dick's eyes, right? And how Commissioner
Yeah.
Gordon plays off of him. It's a different way, a different feel.
Yeah.
Um, but I love how Gordon still has a certain amount of respect for the role for Batman because Batman is Batman, right? There's no
Yeah.
if and or buts about that. Um, and Dick is really trying his best, even if Gordon doesn't appreciate parts of it, but that's fine. But still, it's
Yeah.
that's where I jumped into the story and I realized I was like, okay, this is where we're at. This is cool. You don't have to over explain it. I get it.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah, it
So,
didn't I don't think it really you don't really have to know much other than what it said, right? Like Batman
yeah,
was dead.
exactly.
Now he's
Yeah,
not dead, but he's also still not here. Right now
yeah,
he's running around doing Batman Incorporated with Damian.
yeah.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. How familiar are you, Khelan, with like the crisis, this era?
A little too well.
I had a feeling.
I um I again I love like the DC cosmology until
Yes.
I stopped loving it.
Oh yeah.
Simply because of all of the various like attempts to clean up continuity.
Hmm.
But like, look, I love the original Crisis on Infinite Earths. Does it hold
Yeah.
up? No. Gorgeous George Perez art though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I even read Zero Hour,
Oh wow.
and Infinite Crisis and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
Final Crisis, actually, I really dug it.
Hmm.
One, I love Grant Morrison. I know their Batman run is very controversial.
Yeah.
But I love a lot of it. And I love how they tied in, their
Hmm.
Batman run with Final Crisis and everything like that. Plus, there was like gorgeous art
Oh yeah.
in that miniseries as well. And I think it was telling some very interesting themes and some really, really cool moments. And
Hmm.
I kind of hoped that they kept Bruce off the chessboard for longer. I know they
Hmm.
couldn't because it's DC and it's
Right.
IP and all that stuff. But what a great idea of, you know, Bruce isn't in Gotham anymore. He's out running Batman Incorporated. He's
Hmm.
doing everything with the Batman of the world. Dick, you take care of Gotham. You got this. Like I've been training you for
Hmm.
years. You're your own man, your own hero. Like you can do this better than I can.
Yeah.
And I was a little annoyed, not about this story, but about how they kind of undid that with the New 52, which came
Yeah.
right on the heels of this. I mean, it was great that
Yes.
Scott Snyder got to do like the
Yeah.
flagship Batman book after in Court of Owls and everything, which I know you talked about on this show, but
Hmm.
um like this was so good. The
It
story was so
was.
good. Having Dick like be in the lead, like we could have had it a little bit longer, even though I love Nightwing so much as a character and I love Dick as
Mhm.
Nightwing, but him as Batman would have been like, this is like why I go back to DC
Yeah.
comics. I love the legacy of it all. It's like Barry Allen
Yes.
isn't Flash anymore. Wally West is.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hal Jordan doesn't have to be Green Lantern, and so on and
Oh
so
yeah.
forth. We can like pass on this legacy to the next generation. But then they always pull it back because they're like, oh crap, we're losing the neckbeards
Hmm.
as fans. So we have to like do like what we did 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. So
It's so true. So true. Um, yeah, I love Dick as Batman. I think this one, visually, the art really highlights how different a Batman he is. We have all these moments of him like I like highlighted one panel where he almost lands like Spider-Man instead of like Batman, and it's very like a
Mm,
circus land, you see
oh, good
oh it's
pull.
oh it's so fun, and there's like a lot of these in between panels, like these cover pages of him leaping in a very like Dick Grayson Robin way, but in the Batman
mm.
suit. There's just a
Yeah.
lot of like subtle visuals where you're like, that's why every single person he meets in this book is like, you're not the Batman I know. And the one person, I think it's James later on who's like, you smile, that's not Bruce.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was such a great moment. My favorite moment when like the supporting cast realized this
Yeah.
isn't Bruce was Jim Gordon, James's
Yes.
father, saying, well, I'm usually used to Batman leaving by now. Why are you
Disappearing.
still here?
Yeah, he turns around, he's like, huh,
Oh, okay, yeah.
because Dick
Great.
Grayson has manners.
He's a nice boy.
He's
He
just a
grew up with
sweet
good
boy.
manners.
He's a
Yeah.
Yes.
sweet boy. Oh, goodness. It's so funny. And so, we start out, we have this sorry, I'm reading my horribly scribbled down notes. It's very like noir kind of mystery, especially at first. We've got another secret society of rich people. It's not owls this time.
Right.
Yeah. They're proto owls,
It's proto
honestly.
owl. It
Yeah,
really
yeah,
is.
yeah.
Proto owls
That's
and
what it made
plague
me think
masks.
of, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
A lot of the same visuals, like the when you just see the mask with the like eyes and stuff like that. It's very Court of Owls visuals in this one. You can definitely see Scott Snyder working up to his central message, which is, of course, eat the rich. It's always
Yeah.
a Scott Snyder message.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that was interesting with their little plague masks, and I love that the very first artifact that they are voting on is Jason's murder weapon with
Oh,
brain matter still on it.
wicked,
So
wicked.
dark.
Yeah,
So
it's like a
dark.
twisted kind of eyes wide shut moment. It's like,
Mark, I swear to God, my notes say eyes wide shut.
there you go.
It's so funny. I know, but there was something really kink about this. I
There
don't know.
was.
I'm like, what are you guys doing? Like, you are absolutely having sex in the various costumes you buy at this event, right? That's what this is. Somebody wants to wear a Riddler costume and fuck
Exactly.
somebody.
And we're not
That's
shaming their kink. It's just,
no,
a
it's a
little
look, it's a
out there.
little weird, but hey, not yucking your yum.
The crowbar is a little much. That's a
It's a
It
little
little
is.
much.
It
much. It's a
is.
Yeah.
little. I
You
can't believe that crowbar. First of all, so we think it was real? Because I'm like, how did anyone find that?
I do
Right?
love the idea that it was like a fake, like a replica.
Yeah,
Like it's like, oh, we know these people will spend a
yeah,
lot of money because they're macabre and a little twisted or very
no,
twisted. They'll spend it.
Yes.
yeah.
So yeah, that's my headcanon that it wasn't real.
I know. It feels too wild that somebody would have found it. I feel like somebody was just like, I don't know,
Yeah.
go to the butcher's, get some blood. We're gonna splatter this thing.
Right? Exactly. Or you have to imagine whose brain matter was that. It's like, who knows what they're capable of?
Literally,
Right.
who knows? It was like somebody, some waiter that wasn't polite enough to them or something. Yeah,
Well,
100%.
there's that, right? The ultimate Karen, they kill the poor person, It's like,
We don't speak to your manager. We just take you directly
I
out,
take
just
you.
right away.
Fantastic. Amazing.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Oh my God. And we also get to see Boss Baby Tim being his little CEO, even though I think he's supposed to be 18 in this timeline. We love. He's just in his little suit that's too big for him. I'm like, are you wearing Bruce's suit? What's happening?
Oh God.
I love it. I love it. I love it that the CEO Tim plotline just pops up in every comic of this era, but absolutely no one knows what to do with it. So he just walks through and he's like, I'm tired. Don't talk to me. And that's all we ever see of CEO Tim.
So, okay, can we talk about Tim for a second?
We can talk about
Because
Tim for every second. You're on the right show.
excellent. All right, we've established Best Robin, right?
Best Robin.
Uh, I love Damien a lot as a character. I know a
I
lot
do
of
too.
people
I
didn't
love
love him.
Damien.
I think
Yes.
Damien's great. Just sometimes, uh, like a petulant child can work really
Yes.
well as a character
Hmm.
if you do him right. And most
Yes.
most of the time they've done him right. And I like
Yeah.
the dynamic with him and Bruce, and also the dynamic with him and Dick.
Yeah.
But once you brought Damien onto the stage,
Hmm.
Tim became, they just kind of shuffled him off a little bit. They didn't know
Yeah.
what to do with him. And it was a
Yeah.
little just annoying. Like even to like the modern day, like what DC Comics is doing right now. Like I'm
Yeah.
glad they've made, I think Tim is now canonically bisexual. Yes.
Yes, he
Which is
is. He has a
great.
boyfriend we love.
Snaps to
He's
that.
a very
But
boring boyfriend, but it's okay. We've all had bad boyfriends.
I mean, representation matters. Boring people need to be represented too.
Sometimes you know the first one's not a good one, you know?
There
You
you
got to work
go.
some stuff out.
But I mean, I want the Tim from,
Yeah.
like
Red
I
Robin.
know, not to be that guy, but like the Tim that I grew up with,
Yeah.
like smart as hell, smarter than Bruce even, became
Yes.
Robin to save Bruce.
Yeah.
And like I want that kind of energy again. And like we just
Yeah.
haven't had it in a long time.
No, we had it for a little bit with Tynan, in
Yes, in
the
the detective,
offshoot in Detective.
which was
It's so
great,
good.
great
Him,
run.
him and Batwoman are two queer canonically queer. They're all queer, let's be honest. Are two canonically queer Bat fam members together. It was amazing. We got it for like one issue of his solo run, and oh God, we've talked a lot about his solo run on this show. It's so bad. The new solo run, sorry. It's great that he's bisexual, but the story fucking sucked.
Yeah, it's just yeah,
But
not
if
great.
you do want that vibe, Khelan, you should read the webtoon, Wayne Family Adventures. That is
Oh,
where it is the best Batman comic ever written, and it officially like hits the mark with every single member of the Bat family. It's so good
you're like the fourth person to recommend that to me, Chris.
because
So
it's so good.
I definitely need to make time to read it.
It's
So
and it's
we'll do.
totally free, which is also rare in the world of comics. So
Love that.
no, it is truly they get it. Like I think they've been occasionally accused of like using the fandom version of each characters, but I'm sorry, that's just because the fans are right on this one. It's so good. It's so good. I love it. He gets to run around being his little bisexual detective self in that all the time. So,
Excellent.
hmm Um, I'm realizing we're talking about everything but actually this story. So, so okay, as far as themes go, we immediately hit with the what's his face's speech. Did not write down his name, just evil plague mask is what I wrote down. He gives this whole speech about evil is humanity's divine spark, and that seems to be a theme that runs through this. Like, what is the true nature of people? Is it evil? Is it good? I found this part very interesting in that we're living in a time where the rich are really embracing their villain era, if you will. And it's interesting, right? Because most of the time you think of people and you're like, even the worst person, they're the hero of their own story. I like the villains in this that are like, nah, no, we're the villain of this story and we're
Yeah,
love it.
yeah.
Big fans, big fan of villainy.
Are you talking about by the way, the auctioneer was a person's name who
Yeah, was it the auctioneer? Was that just his name?
no, no, it was Etienne Guibord.
Oh, I just called him
Yeah.
Plague Mask the
Yeah, I
entire
just
time.
I just happened to have my little notes up about it
Oh,
because I
good for
knew I had to
you.
refer
Thank
to
you.
this. I was never going to remember everybody's name. So,
Oh, I didn't even try. I gave them all nicknames.
all right.
And that
Yeah.
actually fits like Etienne being this, incredibly wealthy
Yeah.
villain. Because this came out in what, in 2010,
Oh, yeah,
2011-ish.
yeah, yeah.
We were on the heels of the Great Recession, like,
That was Occupy era, right? Yeah.
Occupy era, like you would like very rich assholes,
Yeah.
taking advantage of like common people, like their pensions, their savings, all that kind of stuff. And so I think Snyder really hit that zeitgeist right now.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, like I'm gonna make this rich bastard a true bastard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think maybe at the unfortunate cyclical nature of things, this story feels very modern because I was reading through it and I was like, damn. There was
Well,
multiple
yes,
moments where I was like,
yes,
this is what it's like in Elon Musk's office. Like this meeting right here. This is the thing he says to his people before making them work 80 hours a week.
right.
Mm.
I also love that Etienne, in the climax of the story, takes
Yeah.
the Langstrom serum, like when he
Yes.
becomes like off-brand, not man bat, like I'm like,
Yes.
oh, you're like
Yes.
Timu man bat, like this
Yeah,
is not what it looked
we
like
have
on the
man bat
website.
at home, man bat.
Right. Yes, exactly. I was like, I mean, Jock did a gorgeous job
Oh yeah,
of
it's so good.
illustrating this, but like
Yes.
this is not the elegant man bat that we've
Yeah.
seen,
No.
on
No.
page or screen.
It's interesting, just I guess thematically, again, the metaphors on metaphors. Every one of the things that Dick hallucinates, he eventually then faces at one point in the story. So he hallucinates the entire room full of man bats, and then he actually faces the guy turned into man bat. At one point, he hallucinates getting eaten by an orca, which I've got some questions, Dick. Like what? Why that specifically? But then there is an orca later.
There is an orca, and it's really freaking creepy.
Yes.
It's so
Yes,
creepy.
exactly. Yes.
I do gotta say, I don't know how I feel about this orca slander because as we know now, and I know Snyder didn't know back then, but they are anti-capitalist. They sink yachts.
Yes,
So
exactly. We love a good sea panda. So-
I just feel like they would be on our side in this one. I don't think they would be on the villain side.
yeah, there's some pretty scary
Yes, talk
elements
about it.
throughout this. The way it's drawn is beautifully drawn, right? But it's
Mhm.
just there's certain things they do get under your skin, and like I said, that with the writing, there's
Yeah.
parts that I was like, I am scared of this character. I'm genuinely scared of what this
Yeah.
person is capable of, right?
Yeah.
Of what's bubbling under the surface, even if it's
Yeah.
already apparent that you should run the other direction. So
Right.
Clearly, Snyder is tapping into his horror roots here, like, because he was writing
Yes.
American Vampire concurrently with this, but also the two artists that he picked. We've talked a lot about
Mhm.
Jock. Jock is like,
yeah,
like it's
Mhm.
like dark images on the
Mhm.
page, like it's like lightning, it's like very like
Mhm.
shadows, all that kind of stuff.
Classic
And then
noir, like
classic
very
noir,
noir.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And then you have Francesco Francavilla. I hope I'm
yes,
pronouncing his
Yeah.
last name correctly. I actually prefer his art more than Jock's. Because the
mm,
first time I was reading this book, I actually bought the hardcover like many, many years ago and was reading it on a flight back from somewhere. And I was like, oh, Jock stuff is so great. And I'd seen Jock's work before, like on Losers and like other stuff that he'd done. I'd
Right.
never seen Francesco's art because I hadn't read Afterlife with Archie or anything else that he'd done. And I was like,
That one's
oh, this
good. That one is good.
it's yeah, it's great. I've read it since then, but it was like this 1970s like
Mm,
Hammer like horror
mhm,
gothic like art. I was
mhm.
blown away at how good it is. And so the fact that Snyder got to work with both of these artists telling a horror story through like 10 parts essentially, or nine parts, and
Mhm.
having like these two like amazing visual artists like doing it, God, I can't stop gushing about it.
No, it's so gorgeous. It's beautiful, and like you were saying, Mark, it's genuinely like this is horror. This is a proper horror Batman story, which I love.
Mhm.
That I love that it gets to be both a detective story and a horror story, which sometimes Batman gets away from, but it's always at its best when Gotham is scary and Batman is detecting. I think personally.
Yeah.
Um, Other notes I wrote down, basically everything they say about, so you don't know this, Khelan. I used to be a therapist. Everything they say about mental health in this is wrong. Just thought I'd throw that out there.
Okay.
I love, it's always wrong in Gotham. And partially I just assume my like headcanon, it's because every single therapist in Gotham is actually a crazy murderer that nobody knows anything. That's why, like every time you go to a therapist, you're like, God damn it, that one's trying to kill me too. So that's
Fair enough. Yes.
just my
I think what
head.
we left off on the Gotham TV series was one of the like therapists, doing
Literally
stuff,
every
killing off people, whatever
therapist.
they were doing, right?
If there's a
Yeah.
therapist in a Batman show, in a movie, if there's a therapist in a comic, you're like, all right, I know you're the one doing it,
I mean, we started with like Dr. Harleen Quinzel, so like
right?
right there,
And it's gone downhill since then because at least
yeah,
she was a good therapist. She
she was a
wasn't,
good therapist. She just ended up
but yeah,
doing
and we
crime,
got
right?
like Hugo Strange. We just
Oh
got a
my
lot of,
gosh, yes.
oh, right. Like we got so many therapists in here that, so that's what I assume is wrong. But like, what I prefer personally is if they don't try to explain the mental health stuff they're saying. They're just like, just go with it. And this one, they were like amygdalas and the PCL. And I was like, that's wrong. That's also wrong. That's not what the amygdala does. That would not work.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
can't,
yeah.
you also, I'm sorry, I gotta do my little mental health rant. You cannot diagnose a child as a psychopath because all children at some point are psychopaths. You gotta wait till they're an adult and see if they grow out of it.
This is very similar to whenever I see anything about politics in a comic or
Oh,
a TV show that's like not Veep. Um,
yes.
they're like, "Oh, you just got this wrong. This is
Yeah,
now how it works. This is
it's not. It's
that's
very
not."
frustrating.
It's very even like Thunderbolts, which we
Yeah,
saw and reviewed on Homo Superior podcast.
yeah.
Fantastic movie. All the congressional hearing stuff, I'm like, none of this is right. This is like this would never happen. And I get it. I
Yeah.
get it. It's a superhero universe. I get it. But I'm even like when they try to like touch on that reality, I'm like,
Oh, yeah. They do. They don't make it stupid enough ever. That's why Veep is so
right.
good.
That's right. Exactly. Correct.
So like this is everyone's being way too confident. This is not right. This is not how
Right.
politics works.
Right.
Meanwhile, I just assume every mental health professional in Gotham is plotting to murder their clients, and that's why nobody gets the correct diagnosis. Uh,
Love that canon. Love it. I'm in. I'm
Thank
completely
you.
bought into it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This started for me when the Grant Morrison run where they wrote that Joker was super sane. He was diagnosed as super sane, and I was like, all right, all the therapists are evil. Got it. Message received.
Right.
But I had to shout out to all my current therapist homies that that's not how any of it works. I see you. So the other major theme, though, that I picked up on in this is this idea of legacy, both twisted and positive. So obviously we have legacy, Dick Grayson, and every time he's in the Bat mantle, it's such a like we're in his head. It's always such a weight of like, how do I do this? How do I be me, but also be him? But then we also get legacy. We have James Gordon, who's a legacy character, and we have Tony Zuko's daughter, Sonia. So we've got like three different legacy characters in it, all of them trying to make their own way with varying degrees of success.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on all that? Either one of you?
Again, this is why I love DC
Hmm.
comics so much. It's like that hitting on like that, like
Yeah.
sins of the father, sins of the son, sins of the parent, sins of the child.
Oh, yeah.
Um, I was shocked to see like a Zuko family member, and
Yeah,
Sonia was actually, she was pretty cool
I know.
character actually. Like
Uh,
she was like, she's
she
not
was
quite evil, but she's a
no.
little bit
I was on
evil.
board with her plan. I'm sorry. I was like,
Yeah.
she's right though.
She's just trying to make it in the world, right? Like
Yeah.
she's
Like,
like,
okay, did she manipulate you? Sure.
it's
But
fine.
let's be honest, Dick Grayson is easily manipulated. He sees a pretty girl and he's like, she's great. We love. He stands a woman, which we love.
Yes.
Maybe to his detriment. Yeah, I do love our bisexual Barbara moment of her being like, "Whoa, that girl's hot."
Yeah.
She has one of the best lines in the whole comic where she goes, "How come that none of the mob bosses in this whole city have an ugly daughter?"
I know they're all like stunningly
They're
gorgeous.
just hot as hell.
Like they're all tens, like, perfect body, great hair,
It's
like
just,
all of it.
yeah, yeah, legs for days.
Legs for
That's
days,
the
yes.
scene where she is talking to Dick while swimming in her little bikini and like gives him a little shoulder and everything. I was like, slay queen. You know what? I
Yeah.
don't manipulate me anytime, mommy.
Well, I mean, I was just gonna say someone has to attend the Gotham Gala and like show, how it's done,
You're
right? So
so right. I honestly, I was like 10 out of 10 would let manipulate me. No, but seriously, her whole manipulation was take out these bad guys for me. I She was right. I would wear a Sonia was right shirt.
We can definitely make that happen.
Good.
I want to talk a little bit about James Gordon because
Hmm.
his first appearance, he was a baby in year one. And
Yes.
so we're not going to think about timelines because they're
Hmm.
yeah,
always
yeah,
off, but
Oh, and Batman timeline always shrinks. Always.
always shrinks. Right, right,
Hmm.
right. So Batman stays the same, everybody else changes around him.
Yeah.
It's a
Yes.
lot like
Don't worry about it. Did he adopt Dick
so
when he was
Batman's a
19?
vampire.
Don't worry about it.
he's a vampire, yes, canonically in Red Rain, like by
True,
Kelly
true.
Jones. Yes. No, he's very much like Matthew McConaughey in Dazed and Confused. It's like, you know,
Yes. Oh,
so
yeah, I know the
but
line.
yes, yes, yes.
But
But
James Gordon, evil baby.
evil. Okay, absolutely one of the most frightening Batman villains
Literally.
ever.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's the one that got under my skin the most, I think. I felt
Yes.
like it was an easy, well, this is great. I was like, I love that I automatically
Hmm.
know like something's not right here.
Yeah, every like I wrote down you can tell he's mentally unwell because he's the only character with bad posture. Everyone is always like walking around with their chests out and he's like, "Hello.
It's like
Hello, hello,
like
father."
like Renfield. It's like
Oh my God. Oh my God. Nicholas Holt as James Gordon Wynn.
there we go.
Oh
There
yeah,
we go.
after he does Lex Luthor,
Yeah.
and well, he's done
He
Beast as
just
well.
he
Yeah,
loves playing he just loves playing a creepy little guy.
Yeah.
I mean, I was getting like Jeffrey Dahmer with
Oh
his like
yeah.
slutty little
Yes.
glasses,
My God,
so
yes.
Exactly.
He was
Exactly.
really, don't talk about his glasses. He was real sensitive about that.
I
He killed like
know.
5 separate people because they made fun of his glasses. He was also giving me big Saw vibes. That like one
Yes.
trap that he has the one guy in. Also in the I just murdered people because they slightly offended me a little bit vibes that Saw always has. Yeah, big Saw vibes. He was waiting to become Saw.
Yeah. Yeah.
1000%. Yep.
I know I love him as a villain. He was so interesting. And there's that pulling on that thread of what is our nature? Like are we inherently evil? Are we good? And is Gotham making like corrupting people being this ongoing theme? He
Yeah.
comes in and James is kind of constantly or Jem is constantly torn backward and forward between can we help him or is he just bad? And everyone is constantly telling him he's bad. You should listen to us. But he's a father and he loves him and doesn't want to give up on that,
Yeah.
despite so much evidence that he should. So
Well,
much.
going back to what you were saying about legacy, it's funny because as maniacal as his character is,
Yeah.
he finds a way to leave his own legacy behind
Oh,
and what is up ahead, right?
terrifying.
Because that's a frightening prospect of
Yeah.
how and where this is all headed. So
Right.
yeah, I love that. I was like
Yeah.
how the hell does that work out later, right? It's like
Mhm.
I know that when so he says that he tainted baby formula to make more psychopath babies, and then they are left with this, we can't tell, because what if he did it a long time ago? How are we supposed to
Yeah,
know? And then it
Right.
just ends panning in on this baby. It was so creepy.
Oh my God, the baby that wouldn't blink is just like looking at you, not
Yes.
smiling, not crying, just like,
Terrifying. You're like, oh God.
yeah,
It's really good, right? I mean, it's kind of feeding on these like old fears. I think about, the lies and like propaganda about the idea of like crack babies and how they were all going to grow up to be criminals and stuff like that. And obviously
right.
Mhm.
that propaganda, it was just Reagan
Yeah.
time propaganda, but that old fear of like, what if this thing you created is born bad, I think is like a very inherent fear in a lot of people, and it did a really good job digging into it. Yeah. As we all stare into the distance and think about how scary it is.
And
I know.
it was a lot to chew on, and I love that. Right,
Yeah,
I'm saying
no, it
because
is. Mhm.
um yeah, I think it's funny that you had such a terrifying character who, like you said, the very
Mhm.
Dahmer-esque feel about
Mhm.
them. They didn't have to put on any crazy makeup or a
Right.
costume or anything
No.
to be frightening. It
No.
was the fact that they were so human and normal that
Mhm.
made them even more frightening, you know?
Yeah.
Um, that's just to me one of the many brilliant things that are sprinkled
Yeah.
throughout this book.
I think the thing that like really got to me was he has this moment, right, where he's talking about how he went to the drug trial and it worked and he felt empathy for the first time, and then he chose to be evil. He literally said, I don't like it. I don't want this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, I mean, that's like,
Yeah, well, he
ugh,
probably
Yeah.
found he was more himself and he felt more comfortable in that
yeah,
zone of himself, right? This is where he knows himself
yeah,
best. There's comfort there in this world that doesn't understand him. So, yeah.
yeah.
One of the I just realized why I love this book so much because it reminds me a lot. I don't know if y'all ever read Gotham Central.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Greg Rucka and
Love
Troy
Rucka.
Baker,
Yes.
both of them just alternating, storylines about like the Gotham City Police Department. And it's a
Yeah.
kind of like a homicide, Law and Order, Wire, even type show, type comic within
Right.
Batman universe. And so like you get a lot of that, even though,
Mhm.
Batman was like a peripheral character in that book,
Mhm.
but he's the main character. Dick Grayson Batman is the main character here. But you get like Mark, to your point, James
Mhm.
Gordon is truly horrifying without putting on
Mhm.
a costume, putting on makeup, having some silly code name, where Batman can go and punch him. It's just this is like
Yeah.
pure unadulterated evil, and like kind of playing off that sort of serial killer vibe,
Mhm.
that can happen in some of those like cop shows and cop movies like
Mhm.
Seven, all that stuff.
Mhm.
So
This is very Seven. Oh my God, you're
Yes.
so right.
very, very much that. And also, I think Scott Snyder does something so well that like someone like Jeff Loeb wasn't able to do. Sorry for shitting on Jeff Loeb, but I will. Um,
Do
um,
it. No
uh,
judgment here.
with Hush and the Long Halloween, which I actually really like Long Halloween a
I
lot.
do too.
Because mostly the Tim Sale art's just beautiful. But like Jeff Loeb loves doing the greatest hits. It's like I want to
Yeah.
bring in Joker and Two-Face and Scarecrow and
Oh yeah.
Catwoman and blah 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 blah. And so Snyder's like, yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'm like, I'll have touches of Man Bat, I'll have touches of
Mhm.
Killer Croc. I'll bring in the Joker for like a hot second, just season, just like
Yeah.
Chris likes it. But like he makes it so natural and organic it doesn't feel
Yeah.
like cameos of the week, like,
Yeah,
oh,
Mhm.
yeah.
now like I'm just gonna pop this character in because I really want, to do Kite
Yeah.
Man or, whomever. So,
I would love to see Scott Snyder's Kite Man, to be
I mean,
fair.
for real, 1000%.
Would read.
I,
I'm
I
sure
have
he'd make
to.
him
Oh,
very
I'm
good,
sorry.
to be honest.
I was just gonna say that I think in general, that's
Mhm.
where I'm at with most things that I love. That
Mhm.
don't get me wrong, I think nostalgia is great, but just in small amounts.
Yeah.
And I love it when you can You make something new,
Yeah.
you take it forward, and it doesn't have to be just constantly remember, like, remember this, because
Yeah.
a lot, and
Exactly
I
right.
get it because, you know, for a lot of people that grew up in my generation, that's how they sell these things, right? You
Yeah.
go to see these things that remind you of when you were a child and like you were happy and, this was all new. But
Mhm.
after a while, that gets boring. And so
Mhm. Yeah.
refreshing takes like these and seeing somebody create something, new, um, that goes a long way for me now. And
Yeah.
so I think that's maybe another reason why I really just connected with this whole story.
Yeah. Well, I think they do such the reason I think Scott Snyder is so good at that, where some people aren't, is they aren't Easter eggs. They are
Mm.
absolutely just the way it would come up if you lived in Gotham. Because there's a moment where they're like, oh, this
Yeah,
toxin reminds me of Scarecrow toxin. Like that's a reference they make because you would say that. I was reading it
Right.
and I was like, is this a Scarecrow story? And I don't remember because that's what it feels like for a minute. And that's how the
yeah,
characters in it. So if you lived in Gotham, you'd be like, ah, God, another Scarecrow day, another scenario.
yeah,
Yeah. Or, oh, this reminds me a little of Joker. Like, I think he weaves it in a way that we talk when you talk as a person, rather than in a, almost product placement-y, like, look at this thing. It's not
yeah.
that for him, which I love. I think that's why it works, in my opinion. Uh, so the other constant Snyder theme that he loves is what is the nature of Gotham, and this comes up a lot
Hmm.
in Snyder and also Snyder era stories like Gates of Gotham, things like that. And so in this one, there's multiple things. There's Jim Gordon wondering if the very like soil of Gotham is corrupting to the point that it wouldn't matter if the formula is bad because the babies will turn out bad anyway because of Gotham. But there's also Dick Grayson thinking about the difference between how he sees Gotham and how Bruce does. So he talks about
Mm,
how Bruce sees one step ahead. He sees the fight right now and doesn't believe it thinking about the future. He has a bit of a fatalism almost that it doesn't matter, we're here now. Whereas Dick likes to get back further and actually have hope. And like that part is still alive in him. And I think that tension is what we see in the story, right? The characters who Jim Gordon being much more like Bruce, kind of going like, I don't know if we could fix it. And then characters like Dick and Barbara who have that empathy and that hope of like maybe it could be a better world.
I love that so much. And
Mhm.
in my head canon, Dick lived in Bloodhaven for a while and
Yep.
still does now.
Yes.
And so it's like, oh, you think Gotham's bad? Oof, go to Bloodhaven.
Yeah.
Much
That
worse.
place is
Gotham can
literally
be
named Blood.
saved. Yeah, Bloodhaven's like, yeah, flush that down the toilet completely.
Yeah. Yeah. Dick Grayson's the son that actually went away for college and knows the world is not as small as everyone in his family thinks it is.
Right.
So true. That is a good headcanon. I like it too because again, if we talk about like what makes this story feel so unfortunately current, there's this underlying idea, the James Gordon talking about not having empathy and then talking about Dick as this like parallel to him who is all empathy, who's all caring. And going back to that idea is like what is actually a weakness? Is it a weakness to care about others or not? Is very much where we're living as a
Yeah.
society right now. Like there's a anti-empathy crisis in our culture. And that is exactly what Scott Snyder is talking about here. So I guess I'm saying Scott Snyder is the prophet of our time. Unfortunately.
yes, yes. Well, you see a lot of that now, though. Like, I think a lot of people saw this coming a while ago. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it just where we
Yeah.
were headed, and some people just really tuned into that. And it's
Yeah.
unfortunate that we got this actually see come to pass. That
Yeah.
it's a warning, and
Hmm. We
yeah,
didn't heed it.
here we
Oops.
are.
Yeah. In a much lighter note, I do love how James Gordon also says that he went to oh no, it's not him. It's the random bad guy that's in it for a second who says that he went to Metropolis and was like, actually, I hated that. Everyone's too good there. He's
Yeah.
like, people are really nice. They smile at you in the streets. I was like, what is this shit?
Sun is always shining. It's never raining.
Yeah. So I should say that for me, this was the first I'd ever heard of the James Gordon Jr. character up until this
Hmm.
point, right?
He's not in it
So
much, or I don't think I've seen him in a long time.
yeah,
He's not
and
in
so
stuff much, yeah.
to be introduced to this character, I thought
Hmm.
it's great because you obviously Barbara has always been this great character, right? And I always
Yeah.
think of Jim Gordon and Barbara, right?
Yeah.
But there was this whole element going on this whole time. Batman's got his own thing going on, his whole family and everything, and the whole time
Yeah.
you've got Jim Gordon dealing with this within his own family, considering who he is in his community,
Mhm.
what he's done, what he tries to do, and his own son is the opposite of that, and it just could have
Yeah.
completely undone his life at one point.
Yeah.
Um, so I love that element of it too. It's like you don't have to be Batman to have these types of things happen to you. This
Yeah.
evil that was there the whole time that's now come back to haunt their lives.
Oh, a very human evil, which is, oh,
Yes.
it's so scary. Ugh.
No,
All
I
those
really
tales. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I'm sorry. No. I
Mhm.
just wanted to follow up on what Mark said because like
Yeah.
that's a really good point because
Hmm.
all the tragedy that happened to Jim Gordon before,
Yeah.
whether it was Barbara or
Mm.
you know
His
Sarah,
ex-wife,
his
Barb.
ex Barb, and then Sarah, his
Hmm.
current wife.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know where it is canonically now, but like it's like the Joker.
I don't think he's wifed up at the moment.
Okay, all right, not a wife guy, got it.
Not a
But
wife.
like
He is not a wife guy. This man cheats on every one of these women.
no, toxic masculinity here. I love you, Jim, but like,
Yeah. We
no.
love you, but the only person you've ever been true to is Batman.
His first love, really,
His first love.
and only love. But I mean, like the Joker has caused so much tragedy for his family over the years
Yeah.
that, like, the fact that you
Yeah.
had this tragedy sort of be homegrown, like this
Mhm.
wasn't the result
Yeah.
of Batman. It wasn't the result of his
Mm.
feud with the Joker or another, one of
Hmm.
his rogues gallery. Yeah, that's like that really hits home for me. Wow.
Yeah. And there's this very small detail where it talks about how you know, James Gordon grew up with his the ex-wife Barb in Chicago. So it's kind of like taking it out of there, like all of this evil grows in Gotham, but this evil could be your next door neighbor in a normal city. Like it
Right.
doesn't have to be one of these special superhero cities. Like imagine the absolute hell he was wreaking on poor Chicago over there for all these years.
Yeah.
Right.
Hmm.
I mean, yeah, for sure.
Hmm.
I did y'all see the Matt Reeves Batman movie that came out a few years
Yes,
ago?
Yes.
love
Fantastic.
it so much.
I'm on the right show. Fantastic. Loved it too.
Yes, it's
Um,
my favorite Batman movie, except for Lego Batman, which is the best Batman movie.
yeah. I have a soft spot for Batman Returns,
Me
mostly because of
too.
Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman,
Yes,
as like filling out
Yes,
my
absolutely.
our girl. I
Oh, I
love
love
her.
it. I love
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
But this would I know they're currently writing the script or they're I think done with the script for the sequel. This would
Yes.
be like even you couldn't do it with Dick Grayson. This would be a great
Oh, it would be
like
good.
basis for whatever Matt like I could see this fitting in with like
You're
Oh,
so
universe.
absolutely.
right. You're
Yes.
so right. Did you read Batman Imposter, the one Matt Reeves wrote,
I
the
did not
comic?
read it.
You should. It's really good. I think it's only 3 issues or 3 or 4 issues. It's very short, but
Okay.
it is his idea of Batman, and the entire plot line is basically Leslie Tompkins forces Bruce Wayne into therapy, or she'll reveal his secret. It is brilliant and so different, but it's very. If you liked the movie, you would like that a lot, I think.
I'll check it out. I'll check it
Hmm.
out. And I still haven't watched the Penguin TV series
Yeah,
yet, which I need to
Oh,
we're
watch.
gonna
so
we're gonna
good.
cover it on the show if you want to join us. That
I
would
would
be
Yeah.
love
really
yeah,
fun. Okay.
actually
It took me by
great impetus
surprise.
for me to watch it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'll put you
It
down for it then.
it really took me
Yes.
by surprise. I wasn't expecting to love it as much as I did. Because again, like I said, sometimes like that whole thing of like,
Yeah.
oh, is this like kind of geared towards straight dudes too much, right? I don't know if I'm going to connect with it or not. And then I
And then it
was
wasn't.
like, okay, this is just good, period. I was like, okay, all
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Yep. I know 100%. I think Matt Reeves gets it. He
He
gets
does.
Batman. He really
Yeah.
does. He gets the
Yeah.
world of Batman very
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Ugh, love it.
It's so funny because going back to what we were talking about earlier, offline, so to speak, with the toxicity of fandom and everything. it's
Mhm.
so weird to me that people get so freaked out whenever we get a change in director and actor and so forth. And I get it. We have our favorites, right?
Yeah.
Right.
But people have become so precious about it because
Mhm.
as comic book fans, how many iterations, how many different artists, how
Right.
many different writers have we
Literally.
gone through? Like decades over decades over decades. And don't get me wrong, there are rough patches. You're like, oh, I don't like this era very much, right?
Sure.
Right.
And you finally, when you get through all that, and your favorite artist, your favorite writer who you didn't even know existed all of a sudden pops up, and you've got a run that's like, whoa, this is one of the best ones ever. And
Right.
so,
Mhm.
yeah, I look forward to that. I just have to
I
remember
agree.
that there's always going to be rough patches, but it's funny how people have such a hard time processing that now. Like they can't
I
let
know.
go, you know, of
Yeah.
like the good times that they had. And I get it. Of course, you're going to gravitate towards happy times, but it's not the
Yeah.
end.
Yeah, we get very precious about the things we love, right? My nephew now just turned 15, so he's been watching all the Marvel movies for the first time. He just
Yeah.
watched the Nolan Batman, which of course, love those movies. There's a lot of problems with those, but I do love them. But it was very funny to talk to a very smart 15-year-old about it. He was like, I thought Batman was supposed to be smart. He didn't do a single smart thing in any one of those movies. I was like, you know what? You're not wrong.
You're not wrong. I mean, they're
He's a
great.
dumb Batman.
He is, I swear. Like Christopher Nolan, I think was more interested in writing the villains,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and like
Yeah.
writing about the city of Gotham,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
and the movies are, I mean, Dark Knight especially, I mean, is
Dark Knight is so good.
it's a masterpiece.
It is, but it's
But
not really Batman.
it's not really.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
He's not really Batman.
He's
It's
not
just
really Batman.
he's just like a guy who dresses like a bat
Yeah.
with a nice
Yes.
motorcycle
And
and a
is
car.
very a dumbass. He is a himbo Batman.
He is very much. Which again, I don't hate that
Hey,
interpretation.
no
Yeah, I don't
judgment.
either. Yeah, it
No,
just
I do I love the idea
yeah,
that everyone just thinks Batman's the best detective and he's actually just stumbling into it.
Yeah. His
That's
secret
fun.
power is just him being rich,
His
like
secret
he
power
just
is failing upwards like all rich white
yes,
men.
all rich white men, exactly, right. Inherited
Honestly,
his daddy's money, total nepo baby, so
Oh, God, you're right. Maybe that interpretation is brilliant, actually.
yeah. That's great. I'm gonna rewatch it tonight, actually. Yeah.
I rewatch it tonight in thinking of him as Himbo Batman. It changes the
Yeah.
whole thing.
yeah, yeah.
So true. So yeah, I'm actually a defender of Batfleck. I don't think he was in a single good movie, but I think he was actually a good Batman.
I liked
I
him.
yeah, I
I
100%
liked
agree.
him.
I
See, Khelan, you fit in so well here.
Well, yes, no, we're very simpatico. We got
Yeah.
to find something that we disagree on, and we will find one because I have controversial
Exactly.
opinions sometimes. But I agree that I think Ben Affleck is actually a really decent human being,
Yeah.
and I think he's a very good actor.
Yeah.
He just unfortunately was in. I don't love Zack Snyder movies. I know he
Oh
seems like a
God,
decent enough
no.
guy, but I
Zack
don't love his
Snyder.
movies.
Yeah.
And it's like, eh.
Zack Snyder, I don't know what happened because he does seem like a fine guy when he talks, but he created a world so toxic. It's that that Glee meme where it's like I'm going to make a place
Yeah.
so toxic. That was that's Zack Snyder's entire oeuvre is just every movie he's ever made, to be fair, even some of the good ones. I'm like, this is just a bad place to be. This
This
is the
is
bad place.
this is my theory about Zack Snyder. He
Yes.
loves moments rather than full stories. He wants to
Mm.
capture the panel that he loved when he was younger, like
Ugh.
you know, uh, the silhouette of Batman against the lightning from
Yeah.
Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns. These moments in Watchmen from his Watchmen adaptation, which I fucking hate. Um, you
Sucker
know,
Punch, just every moment in Sucker Punch.
I won't even watch it, but like just like
No, you shouldn't. It's so bad.
but like his like DC or like his comic adaptations, I should
Yeah.
say, they do this, and like in parts of it can be really beautiful,
Mhm.
like even like 300,
Mhm.
which
Yeah.
again, not my favorite graphic novel. The movie is whatever, but like he just wants to do these moments, and so like I think there's a certain kind of fan out there talking about like certain sometimes toxic fans. They love the cool moment versus like
Mhm.
what is this like what is the full story? What is like, what
Yeah.
are the themes? What are, the motifs?
Yeah.
The stuff that we've been talking about here on today's wonderful podcast. So
Yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's why fans resonate towards it. And then like the fact that he's not running the DC movies anymore,
Yeah.
it's like, oh,
Thank
bring
God.
back the Snyder cut, you know, blah 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 blah.
I
Like
watched
everything
the
James
Snyder
Gunn,
cut. It was
terrible, awful.
Yeah,
it
yeah,
was fine. It was so
Oh,
yeah,
long. It was
yeah,
so
hated it.
stupid. Well, it was it managed to take out some of the worst Whedonisms, obviously, from the movie and add
Sure.
in a whole different kind of bad.
It's like who are you rooting for? Like, you know, like Elon Musk or Donald Trump? Like it's like
It's
one of those.
so bad. I'm
yeah.
sorry. I just feel so much agony over those. Oh God.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that about like the moments and how
Yeah.
those moments is what they love because they for a lot of people it's all about instant gratification and
You're so
Yes.
it's
right.
all and they also the short attention spans, right?
Yeah.
It's like, I think that has in general affected a lot of cinema and so
So
when I see
true.
somebody make a movie where like it takes its time where it's even hard for me to like remember this is okay. This is okay. It's like let it cook and then you're gonna get
Yeah.
your moment, right?
Right.
You almost have to retrain yourself because of the way we're fed everything now, our TV, all our media,
Yeah.
music, everything. It's so quick and easier to come by that I think people forget that before we had to like let things stew and kind of
Yeah.
marinate and
Right.
then break them up and think about them and love them even more over time before we got the new one,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so that's missing a lot from now. And that's not to say like in my day, no, it's just the way things were. And to me, it made me
Mhm.
appreciate things so much more before. So
Yeah.
there's that.
No, I agree. I think that's the Matt Reeves Batman, right? Like
Right.
some people
Exactly.
called it too long, which also made me like, okay, I mean, most Marvel movies are 3 hours long now, but whatever. Uh
Exactly.
sure, fine. But the reason it was long was because it like asks you to slow down and
Right.
think and be like have some media literacy, which the Nolan Batman didn't require.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It's interesting. It's really interesting how things have changed. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think that there's plenty of people out there who know to just take their time telling a story
Hmm.
and, whether it be the nuance that's in there, however it wants to tell, giving you bits and pieces so that you get a good payoff in the end, because I love that. I
Yeah.
love that when you finally realize all these pieces meant something. It wasn't just sitting
Yeah.
there for no
Right.
reason whatsoever.
Which is Black Mirror, right? Like every little
Exactly.
random flashback, every little thing tying back together. It's so smart. I love it. I was trying to think what it would feel like to read this week to week because I didn't read it until obviously it was collected much years later. I do imagine week to week this was probably a like agonizing read. It's- Were you reading it? Were you reading it as it came out? No. So none of us
No,
know.
I bought it. I went to a bookstore and I was on a work trip and I saw the hardcover of this
Yeah.
and I'd heard a lot of really great things online about it. So I was like, like I wasn't really vibing very much with like the new 52, which had just started.
Yeah.
So I went back and bought this and I was like I remember it was coming out like concurrently with what Morrison was doing and I'm like a huge Morrison fanboy like
Yeah.
back from like when they did JLA like and like
Mm-hmm.
Invisibles and like Doom Patrol and all that stuff and then obviously when they did New X-Men which I love but like I wasn't I hadn't read American Vampire. I didn't know
Right.
what to think of like should I invest time and money in reading this like book by an author I didn't know anything about. So I picked it
Hmm.
up and like literally on my flight back home, I was like I devoured it. I was like, holy
Yeah.
shit, this is so good. This
Yeah.
is so good.
Yeah, I do wonder. I wonder if the experience is a little hurt if you read it week to week, Father, because it feels like a one story. Like you could tell me this was a graphic novel instead of issues, and I'd be like, yes, that makes perfect sense. So
Yeah.
I wonder, but I guess we'll never know. Because none of us were there. But and I'm grateful because I can't imagine. I feel like I'd hit some of these cliffhangers and be like, no, thank you. I'm done. They
Right.
were rough. These cliffhangers were vicious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like one of them, like Barbara, which we haven't even really talked about, the absolute horror of the Barbara and James scenes at the end
Oh
where,
my
Oh God.
God.
ha,
Yeah.
ha. where
Wow.
he puts these knives in her thighs that
Oh,
she can't feel because she's paralyzed, but they're in her artery. Oh my God. And she's like full on, it's full on, it reminded me a lot of like Halloween. She's like dragging herself down the hallway and
yes. Yeah.
holy shit. It was so scary.
Yeah. And the thing that I think hurts the most is like
Yeah.
that's her sibling, right? And the fact that she was right. I'm sure there was
Oh,
a part of her hopes that she wasn't right, right? Because of the way he came to their father saying he was better. And that's his son. Of course, he's going to
yeah.
want to believe that he's doing better, right? But
Yeah.
she's like, no.
That absolute
It's like,
obviously, I feel like I should say, obviously, I don't have any evil serial killer siblings, but I do have siblings, and that feeling where I think it's not uncommon that you're as a sibling you see a more, I mean, I don't know if a more clear, maybe like a more, maybe a little harsher version of your siblings than your parents do a lot of the time, and you're kind of
yeah,
like,
yeah,
you're
yeah,
looking at them and you're like, really? You don't see that? You know?
exactly.
But then imagine that, but what they don't see is that they're a serial killer. It's not just like he's annoying.
Right.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
I
Um, Yeah, that's
yeah,
it's an interesting dynamic. Like I said, the family dynamic between them.
yeah.
I love that I got to see that because it's usually more the Bat family that we get to see
Hmm.
that the family dynamic, right? You know,
And it is possible that the Gordon family is slightly more messed up than the Bat family, which is
yeah, and
hard to
that's
do,
okay.
hard to accomplish. They don't have any serial killers in the Bat family. They do have a mass murderer in Jason, but we love him. It's fine.
Yeah, he's misunderstood.
He just look, did he put some heads in a bag? Sure, but those were pedophiles. I'm just saying.
He
Uh,
had it coming, right?
they were warlords. It's fine. He didn't have a soul at the time. Leave him alone.
Uh,
I love it. I know I gotta tell you. So, I mean, Mark knows this, but I recently went through a breakup, and my response to this has been to read serial killer romances. We're not going to analyze that at all, but
no, not at all.
it is very funny to be reading a lot of dark romances where like one of the heroes is a serial killer that, would kill for you, and then I'm reading this and I'm like, oh right, actually terrifying, not sexy. Would not smash, just pass, straight pass. Not gonna pass right now. Uh, yeah. So, any final thoughts on this book? I mean, what do we think overall?
I mean, 10 out of 10. Like, go
Yeah.
read it if you haven't.
God,
It
yes.
is, it belongs in the upper echelon of
Mhm.
like most classic epic
I
Batman
agree.
stories. Definitely the best, Dick as Batman story for sure.
Yeah.
Just, I mean,
100%.
there's nothing about it I didn't love. I don't think it has
Yeah.
any weak spots.
I agree. We have on the show read a lot of the classics, and I would say this holds up better than a lot of the ones that I think get more recognition.
Mm.
Yeah.
Because I feel like this is pretty underrated. I don't feel like people talk about it. I don't see it end up in the like top lists very often. It should be there. It absolutely
That's
should.
weird because you normally, like obviously Dark Knight Returns, like all those books that I remember growing up, they're the first
Yeah.
ones that get mentioned, right? The
Right.
Killing
Yeah.
Joke, whatever it may be.
And this is honestly
Um,
better than most of those. I'm not gonna
yeah,
I
lie.
agree.
and
I agree. I
yeah,
100% agree. Yeah.
yeah. It's
Especially
it.
Frank Miller.
I have
Fuck
I
Frank
have a
Miller.
question for you both. So, in this
Yes.
era, how much of Dick as Batman did we get? Was it very short lived, and then we just kind of moved on, or
There
About
was
a
the
year and a
Yeah,
half
there was the
ish.
okay,
Grant Morrison series
okay,
with him and Damian. That's
okay?
I think you would like.
Yeah, it's very Batman and
It's
Robin.
very
It's
good.
very
Batman
good.
and
Yeah.
Robin's very good. You get to really read
What did I say? Was
Damian.
that the one with the pig?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Yeah,
did read
yeah.
that.
Dr.
Yes,
We
Pig.
yes,
did,
Yeah.
yes.
I was gonna
Okay,
say, I was like, I thought we read it, but
yeah, yeah, I
who
did read
knows?
that.
We read many a
Um,
thing.
and
Yeah.
and and the other question to this: would it be weird to have like whether it be its own series,
Mhm.
right? That they
God,
revisit this era and come
I would love
back
it.
to it, and like there's more story there,
Well,
right?
Nightwing is ending, so if ever there was a time,
I'm just saying because it's like I like what
yeah.
I saw. It's
No,
kind
I
of nice
know.
to see this take and see it from Dick's eyes as Batman, right? So
It's been a really long time since we've had anyone but Bruce be Batman, so maybe it's time.
Might be time. I mean,
We
we go
gotta
through
kill
that.
Bruce Wayne. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Well, we had that in the 90s when
Yeah,
Azrael took over during like,
the
like which
extreme
Mm,
era.
but
yeah.
I mean
I love Azrael.
I mean, yeah, Nightfall is a great
Mhm.
story and
It
then
is.
like Night Quest and Night's End, I have a
Oh
soft
yeah.
spot for.
I love
Um
Azrael. I truly believe that
and
Azrael is Winter Soldier for people who have religious trauma.
yes, very much so. I ended up
Hey.
buying, so I bought the miniseries Sword of Azrael with the
Oh, it's
beautiful
so good. Oh
Joe
my
Quesada
God.
art, and then like I bought like the Azrael series that Denny O'Neil was writing for
Yeah.
a number of issues, and then it kind of went off the rails a little bit. Like when he became like Agent of the Bat, I'm like,
Yeah.
this is
Did you
not
read
great.
the new series? I feel like nobody read the new series. It was
I
only like
didn't.
it's really
No.
good. I loved it. They really dug into that Winter Soldier vibe, I'm not gonna lie, but it was very good. It came out like a year ago and I think it had like 5 issues and nobody read it but me, but I loved it.
Do you know who wrote it, or do you remember off the top
I
of your
can
head?
I no. I've never remembered anything off the top of my head. I have ADHD, but I will look.
Fair enough. I'll check it out.
I will find it for you before we get off here. Um, but Mark, what is your rating? What do you think?
Oh, but as far as Batman stories, yeah, I also give it a 10. Like I said,
Ooh.
I love the story. I love the art. I love that it terrified me in certain parts. And just that alone, it's just like, okay, I would want to revisit this again. Like this, I would recommend to other people who are trying to get into Batman. It's like, what is the best Batman? And it goes, well, here's a story.
Yes.
It's not a Bruce Wayne story, but you're gonna get some really good Batman, and so um I'm really glad we read this. Thank you guys so
I
much.
agree. I mean, I agree. I like 100%, 5 out of 5 batarangs, no notes. I love this so much. I really I don't have anything bad to say about it, which I think is rare.
Yeah.
Um, and to answer your question, Sword of Azrael was by Dan Waters and
Oh,
I'm gonna try my best. Nicola Masija, I think is how you say her name, does the art. It's so good. And I think there really is just only 5 of them, but they were so good. Fully recommend.
Dan Waters is becoming one of my new favorite
Yeah,
writers.
he's so good.
He's writing Nightwing, I think, right now.
Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
even though it's ending, as Chris
I know.
Yeah.
mentioned.
I need to hurry up and catch up because I'm way behind. Shame on me.
Oh, it's ending, so you'll catch.
Yeah, you
But I
catch
mean,
up.
I really am wondering where Dick goes after this, right? I mean, we do have a new Dick as Batman run coming. I don't know. Something.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
been
yeah,
so popular with this Nightwing run because it's a beautiful Nightwing run that's been happening with
yeah.
Taylor. But I don't know. I don't feel like he's not going to be a main character anymore. I feel like he's going somewhere. I just don't know where yet.
Mm.
Or they'll give him a new number one. I mean, because this one's been running since like
It really
Rebirth, right?
could just be like,
Yeah,
surprise, just kidding, still Nightwing.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That'll be the name of the book, Still Nightwing. That's
Still
Still
all.
Nightwing,
Nightwinging.
surprise. Yeah.
Still Nightwinging. Did either one of you read the webcomic Nightwing's Butt? Which
No, no, but
I'm
I'm
still
I'm
so shook
intrigued.
exists. Do you know
He
what I'm
does
talking
have
about,
the
Kalen?
yes, it's on the DC Infinite
Yes, and it's just
app.
about his ass, and it has a peach on the cover. I'm like, I love that. Lean in.
No, they like listen, everybody knows
Mhm.
he's got his gay fans and like
Oh
Steve Orlando's
yes.
a friend of mine and like
Ah, love him.
When Steve wrote Midnighter and had like Dick Grayson
Oh
in there and
yes.
like Midnighter just like objectifying like you got a great butt. I'm just gonna say.
My absolute favorite moment between them is it's in Batman Eternal, I think, where Midnighter's like because at this point Dick is in great he's in the Grayson comic where he has the like his
Yeah, yeah,
identity
yeah.
hidden and Midnighter is the only person that recognizes him because he's like I've never recognized you by your face.
Yeah.
It's so good.
That's such a great line. I love it.
It's so good. Well, do you have any other Batman stories you recommend? 'Cause I think Mark's in the market now.
Absolutely.
So okay, going back, I mentioned Gotham Central. I have a lot
Okay.
of like ancillary Batman stuff.
Mhm.
Like if you haven't read Ed Brubaker's Catwoman, especially
Oh,
when like
so good.
Darwin Cook and
Okay.
Mhm.
Cameron Stewart were drawing it. Once like Cameron Stewart left, like I think the book suffered, even though
Yeah.
Brubaker stayed
Hmm.
on for a bit. Um, You know, going back though, like old school ones, like I love like the Steve Englehart Batman. It's like
Yes.
very, it's like really like 70s and psychological. Like there's some like really kind of like fun stories in there. Um, I don't know, like I think every decade has had some like fantastic stories. Like I'm really digging Rom V's Detective Comics run right
I
now.
love Romby. Oh my God.
So talented, and I
Hmm.
also love like the I'm being South Asian myself, like the South Asian representation,
Yes.
and writing, and like the fact that he's a phenomenal writer and seems like
Hmm.
a really just cool person
Hmm.
too. On top of it, my
Hmm.
gosh, I don't know, like I hopefully y'all can give me some
Yeah,
recommendations.
$100.
I'm getting excited about reading
I was
Batman
gonna say
again.
I know a podcast you can listen to that might truly. Yeah. Amazing. Well, can you tell our listeners what you are up to now, where they can find you, and if you have any
Sure.
projects you want to promote that's coming out?
Absolutely. So again, Homo Superior podcast. It's five gay men dishing unapologetically about the X-Men. It's smart analysis and dumb jokes weekly. We cover the current comics as they're coming out, but we also do extra episodes covering the Marvel movies and like other like kind of special events. Like we covered like the end of Krakoa. If you were an X-Men fan, like we like did the entirety of Krakoa. You can find us on we're very prevalent on Instagram at Homo Superior Podcast. We do a
Mhm.
lot of dumb memes.
The memes are exquisite,
I
I gotta
love
say.
that.
Uh I gotta tell, so Adam on our podcast, he's the one who runs our Insta. You
Yeah.
will love hearing that.
Oh, they're so good.
Uh we started Discord quite recently, so I actually would
Oh,
love for y'all to join
Oh,
it.
cool.
yeah.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, I'll send you the link. But
Yeah.
also for all of you listening, you can hop on our link on Discord by just going to our Instagram. We have the
Hmm.
Okay.
link there. It's a really nice Discord. Like everyone's like super chill and friendly and like
Hmm.
just like nerdy in the best way and jokey with each other, and it's not
Love it.
overwhelming.
Good. Okay.
And then other projects, gosh, it's con season. I don't know when this episode is going to get released, but
It's gonna come out this week, so
oh,
there
just
you
like
go.
us, like you do it very quickly. Great. So, if you are going to the Uncanny Experience in Minneapolis, that is a fan-run X-Men con, which it's on
Cool.
its third year now in an old mansion that looks like the X Mansion, which is really freaking cool.
Stop. That's amazing.
It's
That's what I thought you
amazing.
folks had said before. Now I put two and two together. I remember you mentioning that on a podcast at one point. So
It's really good. And so for the last few years and this year as well, we're running a panel called The X Games, not affiliated with the X Games. It is all about like kind of X-Men trivia
Hmm.
and like other little games that we play, and it's nuts. Like we're
Is this
insane
like you do at
people.
FlameCon? Because that was so
Yes.
fun. Okay.
Exactly what we did in FlameCon. And so so that's Uncanny Experience. We're going in July. We'll be at FlameCon in August. We've
Woo.
submitted for a panel. We have not heard yet if we're getting it, but I'm hoping we will get it. So if you are in Minneapolis, come check us out at Uncanny Experience. If you're in New York in August, come check us out at FlameCon and like just listen to our podcast. Check
It's
us out on
wonderful.
Insta.
So,
That means a lot. Thank you so much, Chris.
yeah.
Thank you so much, Mark. Really
Yeah,
appreciate it.
absolutely. This
I'm
has
so
been
glad we got to record together. This
I
has
know
been
this has been
great.
such a blast. You have to come back. You're officially invited back for Penguin.
Anytime you want me to.
Okay,
I
good.
love
We'll
this.
set it up.
Yes.
We'll set it up. And then I just have one question for you on your way out, kind of wrap things up. Do you think you'd survive longer in Krakoa or Gotham?
I mean, Krakoa was like heaven. It was like, orgies every day and
Fair
like
enough. Fair enough.
drinking in the Green Lagoon.
Yeah.
Occasionally like some anti-mutant forces like dropping in, whatever. But
Mhm.
Gotham, no, Gotham's scary as shit.
Yeah,
Don't
Gotham's
don't go
fucked.
there.
Yeah.
Some
Plus,
serial killers, terrible
you could be
therapists.
Yeah, you could be reborn in Krakoa. So there was that, right?
Yes, that's true. You know what? That's not even a fair question. My bad.
No, but hey, I miss Krakoa. I just do
I
very much.
know. I
It
know.
was a fun
It's
era. Yeah, it was
don't we
cool.
all? Don't we all? All right. Well, thank you for joining us.
Anytime. Thank you for having me
Of
on.
course. And bye, listeners.
Bye.
Thank Thank you for listening to this episode of Gotham Outsiders. You can find me, Chris, at Linktree/The Myth of Psyche, where you can find all of my social media, where I'm on Instagram, Blue Sky, Twitter, and all the various places. You can also find all of my other projects where I'm writing and the other podcasts I host, including Thirsty on Tune, which I host with my friend Bronwyn, where we talk about independent projects like books and webtoons, and on the Talking Comics podcast, where I am also a host now. And where can they find you, TJ?
You can find me at TroyFin2 on most social media platforms like Twitter, Blue Sky, Instagram, Threads, a lot. You can find me talking a lot about books, gay things, gay books, and I am a librarian in my professional time and for fun sometimes. So please hit me up if you want a good book recommendation or you have one for me.
And where can our listeners find you, Mark?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at I am El Diablito, and also on Sunday evenings with the Broaxium crew. Show is called Shooting the Poodoo. We are on at 6 p.m. PST, 9 p.m. EST.
And you can find us all on social media at Gotham Outsiders on Twitter, Instagram, and Blue Sky. So thank you for listening, and join us next time. Same bat time, same bat place.